Despite being home to one of the world's most iconic tall buildings, the Eiffel Tower, Paris has long fought to remain a low-rise city. In fact, skyscrapers are an alien concept to Parisians. Besides the Eiffel Tower, Paris has only one skyscraper, the Montparnasse Tower, which was completed in 1973. This monolithic building has long been criticized by Parisians for looking ugly and out of place, a blemish on the iconic landscape. 50 years later since its construction, a firestorm of architectural debate is sparking in Paris again, as a new triangular-shaped glass skyscraper is making headway in the heart of Paris. Many people are starting to fear that this megaproject will trigger a skyscraper boom in Paris, subsequently overshadowing the historical monuments and architectural integrity of the city. So how did the city that gave the world the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Pyramid become so afraid of bold construction? In today's video, we will explore why Paris hates skyscrapers, and how the upcoming new skyscraper might change the city's skyline forever. Before we get started, don't forget to click on that subscribe button and leave a comment, as it's the best way to help us grow as a channel. There is an old joke in Paris that the top of Montparnasse Tower has the prettiest view in the French capital, not because of its breathtaking views of the Eiffel Tower or the Sacred Heart Basilica perched atop Montmartre, but because it is the only place where you do not have to see the skyscraper itself. Since its completion in 1973, this 59-story skyscraper, characterized by its chocolate-colored glass, has faced strong criticism from numerous Parisians who consider it an eyesore on the city's otherwise harmonious skyline. In fact, it is the only skyscraper in Paris, standing at 210 meters, in a city known mostly for its architectural uniformity. Paris's La Défense business district does in fact boast a number of skyscrapers, and in the 13th and 15th arrondissements, but the center of the city is largely a skyscraper-free zone. Historically, Parisians have had an almost reflexive opposition to major changes to their city's appearance. The Eiffel Tower, completed in 1889, was derided at first, with some calling it a tragic street lamp and a giant ungainly skeleton. Also, many felt that the famous glass pyramids installed outside the Louvre Museum in the mid-1980s were too radical in style. Over time, however, Parisians gradually embraced these structures as iconic symbols of the city, but the Montparnasse Tower, which recently commemorated its 50th anniversary, continues to be unappreciated and unloved by the populace. Paris's city plan and its architectural style mostly date back to the mid-19th century. At that time, the city was viewed as overcrowded, dank and disease-ridden. But under the rule of Napoleon III, who wanted to transform the capital into a vibrant modern European city, Paris experienced a modernization. Paris's cramped medieval streets and decrepit buildings were demolished to make way for wide avenues, public squares, and parks. About a century later, Paris faced another identity crisis. Though the capital itself remained intact, World War II had left much of France in ruins. Redevelopment meant an opportunity to again modernize the country, this time by adding nationwide highways and new skyscrapers, as was being done in the United States and United Kingdom at the time. Montparnasse, a neighborhood in the south of Paris, was one of the first candidates for a large-scale urban renewal project in the city during its post-World War II economic boom. The goal was to build a modern neighborhood catering to a new generation of white-collar businessmen, filled with offices, new apartment buildings, a renovated train station, a highway to the new airport being built south of Paris, and of course the Montparnasse Tower. At first, there was excitement over the prospect of modernizing Paris, but public opinion quickly turned against the tower. Locals criticized its height in a neighborhood of shorter buildings. Afterwards, due to the public outcry, Paris City Council banned the construction of buildings higher than 37 meters in 1977. Skyscrapers were dismissed until 2010, when the Paris city government relaxed the height requirements to allow for the construction of tall office towers on the city's periphery but still within its borders. That decision reignited public debate. A conservative candidate for Paris's mayoral election in 2014 even encouraged the proposal of tearing down the Montparnasse Tower during the campaign, calling it an urban catastrophe, but the winning candidate, current mayor Anne Hidalgo, called the proposal nonsense but acknowledged that the building certainly isn't the most beautiful. Yet some people thought it was time to reconsider whether tall buildings belonged in Paris. Even renowned architect John Nouvel said that it was time to stop thinking that Paris is a museum city. Finally, following a lengthy bidding process, in 2015, the Paris city government approved the construction of Paris's second skyscraper, the 180-meter-tall triangle tower on the edge of the southwestern 15th arrondissement. Tour Triangular, also known as Projet Triangular, was designed by the Swiss architects Herzog and de Meuron. The architecture firm first started work on Tour Triangular in 2006, but with proposals for tall buildings highly controversial in Paris, the project became heavily delayed by a series of lengthy planning and legal battles. After 15 years in the making, in 2021, the construction contract for the Triangle Tower was awarded to a Belgian-French construction company called B6 Group. Initial building works on the Tour Triangle started by the end of 2022, and the plan was to complete the tower in time for the 2024 Paris Olympics. But it is now expected that the tower will be completed by 2026. Once completed, it will be the first skyscraper to be built in the city of Paris since Montparnasse Tower in 1973. It would be by far the tallest structure in the southwestern part of Paris. The construction of the tower is expected to cost around 670 million euros. Set to stand at 42 stories and 590 feet tall, with 90,000 square meters of floor space, the Triangle Tower would become the third tallest building within the Paris city limits, behind only Montparnasse Tower and the Eiffel Tower. Its trapezoidal footprint means that from central Paris the building will look like a thin tower, but from the east and west, its full width will be visible. The shape, which has been compared to the Louvre Pyramid, a chunk of Toblerone, and a wedge of cheese, is intended to maximize viewing angles for those inside while reducing the size of the shadow cast on neighboring buildings. The tower would accommodate about 5,000 employees and host offices, a conference center, a cultural center, a health center, street-level shops, panoramic observatories, and a panoramic restaurant on the top floor. The project incorporates high environmental construction standards as well as an energy consumption and a carbon emissions trajectory, in line with the Paris Climate Agreement objectives. The solutions implemented include geothermal systems, a district heating network, and energy and heat recovery systems, as well as a bioclimatic facade and 1,000 square meters of photovoltaic panels. In a dramatic turn of events following the construction of the Triangle Tower, the administration has once again outlawed future skyscrapers in the capital. The 37-meter height limit on buildings was reinstated recently as part of a wide-ranging plan put forward to combat climate change and reduce carbon emissions in the city. It reinstates the same Parisian planning law that was introduced in 1977 following the construction of Montparnasse Tower. The restriction could further delay the construction of the Triangle Tower or stop the project entirely. It is likely that the tower probably won't see the light anytime soon. But if at all the tower is built, whether it attracts the same criticism as its 50-year-old predecessor remains to be seen. What do you think? Should the Triangle Tower be built in Paris, or shouldn't it? Let us know your thoughts about this megaproject in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.